I'm not saying you have to openly sob on your Instagram stories. Vulnerability is about more than just tears and drama. When used strategically, vulnerability can make the difference between a business no one knows about and a brand that changes the lives of their audience members. So let's talk about the power of vulnerability in getting customers. Some of my best clients came to me not from me sharing my skills and expertise, but from them feeling like they know me, like me, and trust me. And of course, the skills and expertise need to be there too. I used to write in a hobby blog when I was in my early 20s, and I kind of did it just as a challenge to myself, to encourage myself to write every single day, and I published it online. There was no strategy or promotion to it. It's kind of just my diary exposed to the public, sharing my experiences and processing my emotions, whatever was just happening in my life at the time. And some people found it, and it built a bit of a following. And people would say to me, "Marley, you write so vulnerably. Like, you're so honest." And I kind of laughed when I heard that, and I'd shrug thinking, well, what else am I supposed to be? You know, I don't really understand the putting up walls and sheltering that people do because they don't want to get hurt or judged. The way I see it is, you're going to be judged either way. So you may as well be judged for doing something that you love and for being real. And when you have that self-awareness, I really think that this comes from being vulnerable and introspective with yourself. When you know yourself so deeply, you can let any judgments roll off your back. Now, it's not to say that you're incapable of being hurt. Sure, we're human, but I'd rather regret giving it my all and hurting than not giving it my all and regretting. I'd rather an oh well than a what if. So while I'm talking about vulnerability, I'm also going to give you a concept at the end that will show you exactly how you can apply it to your personal brand. This is a personal experience that I went through that I hope you can get some really big takeaways from. Brené Brown speaks of sharing the scars and not the open wounds. But to be honest, I've found myself tiptoeing around the open wounds. This is when you can say the things that everyone is thinking or experiencing, yet are too afraid to say. When you can be the one to stand up with courage and bravely speak that message and be a voice for others, giving them a place to feel seen and understood, they become your champions, your raving fans, your biggest followers. And those are the people that become your customers. Because your vulnerability makes other people feel safe and seen, and then they know, like, and trust you, and when they trust you, they'll do business with you. I'm gonna give you some examples of how I express vulnerability to my audience, but first, have you subscribed to this channel yet? I post new videos about marketing and business acceleration every single week, so go ahead and click that red button. One of the most pivotal times in my career happened while I was going through the biggest transition in my life. 4 weeks before I spoke at a huge event, Funnel Hacking Live in 2020, I announced publicly that my marriage ended. I was certainly nervous to be 4 weeks away from stepping on the biggest stage of my life in front of 5,000 people, and I didn't want to be the divorce girl. I didn't want people to look at me and pity me or feel bad for me. So instead of making this announcement or even hiding behind it, I shared and I documented my journey so that I could narrate a story of perseverance. I documented the whole journey to getting on that stage, the highs and the lows. I also spoke at another event before it. I re-entered the public with a new name. I also documented the attention and the sympathy that I got, which was hard to deal with at the time. But there was a big lesson in documenting that story, is that people resonated. Whether they had marriage or relationship problems, they also saw someone who was persevering through struggles. And because of that, wanted to cheer me on. The craziest thing happened that I did not expect was that when I finally entered that stage at Funnel Hacking Live, I entered and exited the stage to a standing ovation. I even had a moment where I had to tell them, like, sit down, because the standing ovation lasted so long, and it was such a special moment. And I think that a huge part of the reason why is because they were watching my journey to step on that stage, and all eyes were on me. And honestly, they could have been watching to see if I was going to fail in that moment of struggle or if I was going to rise up. Vulnerability is so important to your brand, and you have to do this even in the times where you don't want to. The times where it seems hard to be consistent is the time to remember that if your audience is drowning, you can't just say, I'm tired today, I don't feel like saving them today. Even if you don't want to, you still need to be vulnerable. So when I announced publicly that my marriage ended, I'd never felt more like a failure. I was worried that people would judge me or think, why should I listen to her if she doesn't even have her own life figured out? That was the #1 time in my life where I thought I should stop creating videos, because why would anyone listen to me? when I'm broken. Most people would think that getting divorced at my early age should be something to be ashamed about, but instead of hiding, I decided to embrace that message. Because of it, people were embracing me and letting me know that I was loved and comforted, and encouraged me to keep pursuing forward and pushing on for them, not just for me. If it negatively impacted me to the point that I stopped creating content, it wouldn't just impact me. You have to stay true to your mission and your impact and your ability to be consistent in your content. Helping people doesn't stop just because your life isn't perfect. No one's is. And most of you aren't creating content right now because you're scared of other people judging you or what they'll think, and the people around you won't understand you. Newsflash. Those people aren't the people who need your content anyway. Who is your potential buyer that you're putting that content out for, and why would you ever make the business decision to not put yourself out there and not find your voice by creating content when people need you? I thought that my friends and family would be ashamed of me because my marriage didn't work out. But what I found was when I started sharing my story and being vulnerable and letting people in, the people following me embraced me and the community became stronger around me. And I share that story not for you to be sympathetic or to make light of it, but I share it to encourage and empower you. It's about turning your mess into your message. It's your backbone and your pillar that people want to embrace your message. And it's the other thing that makes you who you are. That part of my story is what makes me Marley Jaxx and not just another video marketing expert. At that time in my life, I was starting over in many ways. Obviously, my marriage ending, rebranding my business, having a new name, operating my business with different people involved in it. And it was scary to make that change. And there were a lot of unknowns. But what happened, like I said, when I embraced that message, is my audience embraced me. And we actually ended up having some of our most successful months for the next several months following that event and following me documenting, being vulnerable, and sharing the real me. So think about the ways that you might be able to be more transparent with your audience. And also observe the content that you consume, the people that you follow. What is it in them that stands out to you? What about it is captivating for you? And how can you be like that for your audience and your customers who are looking to find you? If you want to use your vulnerability and storytelling abilities to ascend your leads into high ticket sales, you're going to love my next free private training. In this training, I'm going to give you more strategies and more stories that can show you how you can make high ticket sales just by being yourself. And I'm also going to give you access to my highest performing, most revenue generating campaigns that you can just plug and play right into your business. So click the link below and attend my next training on how to ascend leads from hello to high ticket. And I kind of laughed when I heard that, because when you can be the one to stand up with courage and bravery, but the lesson in documenting, my marriage ending, in this, I'm gonna actually tell you